All right, so get ready because today we're diving deep into some fascinating ideas about the universe.
Okay.
And how they're presented in the Quran.
Right.
Our main source material
Okay.
is this analysis called QUR'AN IV Selenitap DEF.PDF. Now, I know that pronunciation is a little bit of a mouthful,
Right.
but the content
Yeah.
is really where the excitement is.
Yeah.
We're going to explore how the Quran,
Yeah.
which was revealed over 1,400 years ago, seems to align with some modern scientific concepts. And what I think is really fascinating is how the Quran approaches this.
Yeah, I think the Quran, it's not like other religious texts where it has like this linear narrative, like a story.
Yeah.
It's more like these little nuggets of knowledge that are kind of woven throughout.
I like that, woven throughout like a tapestry.
Yeah, like a tapestry.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So let's start with the beginning,
Okay.
the creation of the universe. So the Quran says pretty clearly, God created the universe. And that aligns with what we understand today as the Big Bang Theory.
Absolutely. And I think what's really fascinating is that it's not just the concept of a beginning that aligns.
Yeah.
It's the description that's so remarkable.
Right.
So imagine over 1,400 years ago, the Quran describes the universe's origin as a single point that exploded and expanded,
Right.
which is exactly how modern astrophysics describes the Big Bang today.
It's really incredible to think about, isn't it?
It is.
Like, how could a 7th century text
Right.
contain a description of something
Right.
that wouldn't be scientifically understood for centuries?
Right.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
And speaking of origins, the Quran also mentions
Yeah.
that everything was created from water.
Well, and that's where there's been a lot of debate about what water means in that context. Some scholars say, you know, it's talking about the primordial soup that life emerged from.
Right.
Others say it's more of a metaphorical
Okay.
representation of the life-giving properties of water.
Definitely something to think about.
It is.
And, you know, to add another layer to this, scientists recently discovered the oldest and most distant water ever detected in a galaxy that's 12 billion light years away.
That's incredible.
It's like, it's like these ancient ideas are being illuminated by modern science.
It's so fascinating how scientific discoveries can kind of add new dimensions to our understanding of these ancient texts.
Yeah, so let's move on to another really interesting idea.
Okay.
The 7 heavens.
Okay.
Now, I have to admit, when I first heard about that, I thought,
Right.
well, it's like 7 literal physical realms like stacked on top of each other.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more to it than that, right?
You're absolutely right. It's not as simple as 7 physical heavens.
Right.
The Quran uses this phrase to paint a picture of a vast and multi-layered universe. So think of it as a way of expressing the universe's immense scale and complexity.
Okay.
And you know what that reminds me of? Modern cosmological theories. Like the idea of the multiverse.
Yeah, the multiverse. Whoa, now we're getting into some pretty out there concepts.
It is.
But it is amazing how these ancient ideas can connect with these cutting edge scientific theories.
It is. And it speaks to the enduring power of these texts to kind of spark our curiosity and push the boundaries of our understanding.
For sure.
So let's shift gears a little bit and talk about something a little bit more grounded, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so the Quran mentions iron being sent down.
Yeah, that one always kind of stood out to me.
Sent down? Why would iron be sent down?
Well, exactly.
It doesn't rain iron.
It doesn't rain iron, right? And that's where I think the scientific perspective is really insightful.
Okay.
So we know now that iron isn't just lying around on Earth's surface.
Right.
It's actually formed in the cores of massive stars during these incredibly powerful explosions called supernovae. And those explosions scatter iron and other elements across the universe.
So essentially, the Quran is saying that iron came from outside of our solar system.
Exactly.
And this was revealed before we even knew what a star was, let alone how elements are formed inside of them.
It highlights the importance of thinking about the historical context when we interpret these verses. Because what might have seemed like a simple statement back then could actually contain these really profound scientific insights. It's like the Quran is dropping these knowledge bombs that we're just starting to understand now. Yeah, it really makes you appreciate the depth and the complexity of these ancient texts.
It does. And the more we learn about the universe, the more we might discover even deeper layers of meaning within these verses.
That's amazing.
Speaking of the universe, the Quran also has these really intriguing descriptions of the sun.
Okay.
It talks about it swimming and running its course.
I always thought those descriptions were so poetic.
Yeah.
Just a beautiful way of capturing the sun's movement across the sky.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing there's more to it than just imagery.
You're right. There's a deeper scientific layer to these descriptions.
Right.
So while they might have been interpreted literally in the past, they actually reflect what we know today about the sun's movement and rotation within the Milky Way galaxy.
So the sun isn't just stationary.
The sun is not stationary. It's actually, it's traveling through space, orbiting the center of our galaxy.
So those simple descriptions were hinting at a cosmic reality.
Right.
That wouldn't be
for centuries.
Understood for centuries.
Yeah.
And this ties into another really important theme in the Quran, which is the Earth's precise positioning.
You're absolutely right. The Quran really emphasizes the delicate balance in Earth's position relative to the sun. If our planet's orbit shifted even slightly, we wouldn't be able to live here.
It's true.
It would be too hot or too cold. It'd be uninhabitable.
And we often take for granted
how
perfectly positioned we are.
We do.
You know, our planet is in this Goldilocks zone.
The Goldilocks zone.
Where the temperature is just right for liquid water to exist and for life as we know it to exist.
And that concept of a habitable zone, that's a very recent scientific concept.
Right.
But yet the Quran, centuries ago, was highlighting the importance of the Earth's placement.
That's incredible.
And this delicate balance.
It's really remarkable how these scientific concepts seem to be echoed in the Quran. And it makes you wonder what other insights we might discover as our scientific knowledge continues to evolve.
You've hit on a key point. It's like we're uncovering hidden layers of meaning within these ancient texts as our scientific understanding grows.
It's amazing.
So let's dive into another intriguing phrase from the Quran.
All right.
By the sky which returns.
Okay, the sky which returns. What does that even mean?
It does sound a little mysterious, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Well, think about it.
Okay.
It wasn't until we developed modern science that we discovered the different layers of the atmosphere and their incredible functions.
Right, like the ozone layer.
The ozone layer protecting us from harmful radiation. The ionosphere reflecting radio waves and the magnetosphere deflecting charged particles from the sun.
So are you saying that the sky which returns could actually be describing...
That's one interpretation, and it's quite an accurate one, considering the limited scientific knowledge available at the time. It's like the Quran is using this poetic language to describe a complex scientific phenomenon.
That's really fascinating.
It is.
It really makes you think how much we still don't know about the universe and how ancient texts might hold clues that we're just starting to decipher them.
Absolutely.
Okay, get ready for this one.
Okay.
Because it seems like the Quran might have foreshadowed the expanding universe.
I know. It's incredible, right?
Hold on. The expanding universe. That wasn't confirmed until the 20th century.
Exactly.
That was a groundbreaking discovery.
A groundbreaking discovery.
But the Quran states.
But the Quran states very clearly, and we are expanding it.
Yeah. And
a very simple statement.
Yeah.
Yet it aligns perfectly with Edwin Hubble's observations in the 1920s, which showed that galaxies are moving away from each other, indicating that the universe is not static.
It's expanding.
It's expanding.
It's like we're getting a glimpse.
It's just like a sneak peek
into the dynamic nature of the universe. Centuries before science caught up.
And it doesn't even stop there.
Okay, there's more.
The Quran even goes a step further. And it talks about the universe possibly eventually contracting, which aligns with certain cosmological models like the Big Crunch theory.
So the Quran not only describes...
It describes the beginning and a possible ending.
But also a possible end.
Yeah.
So it's like this cosmic cycle.
It is.
Expansion and contraction.
It's a really fascinating concept. it raises so many questions.
Like what happens after the big crunch?
Yeah, exactly.
Is there another big bang?
Another big bang.
Does it just keep...
Does the cycle repeating
eternally? I mean, these are questions that science is still grappling with today.
Science is still grappling with them.
This is incredible.
But mind-blowing.
It's mind-blowing.
It really is.
All right, so what else awaits us in this deep dive?
Well, let's explore the Qur'an's take on space travel and the Day of Judgment as described in its verses.
That sounds fascinating.
It's going to be an enlightening journey.
I can't wait.
I'm excited to explore it with you.
Me too.
So, when we think about space travel today, it's almost taken for granted.
Right.
We've sent probes to distant planets. Yeah. Rovers exploring Mars, humans walking on the moon.
Yeah, it's incredible.
But back when the Qur'an was revealed, the idea of venturing beyond Earth was pure fantasy.
Right.
But there's this verse that seems to almost challenge humanity with this question. If you can pass beyond the regions of the heavens.
It's like a dare, almost.
It is. It is.
Like it's saying, go ahead, see if you can figure out how to do this seemingly impossible thing.
Yeah.
And centuries later.
And centuries later, we're doing it.
Yeah, we're actually doing it.
It's really fascinating how that verse can be interpreted as an encouragement to explore the cosmos, which is really driving so much of our scientific and technological advancements. What's even more intriguing is how certain scientific developments seem to echo concepts mentioned in the Quran.
Okay, like what?
Well, for instance, the European Space Agency, the ESA, they're actually researching human hibernation as a way to facilitate those really long journeys to distant planets.
I've read about that. That's pretty amazing.
It is.
Inducing a state of suspended animation.
Right.
So astronauts can withstand the time.
Right.
And the physical demand.
Yeah, it's like straight out of science fiction.
It is. And what's really remarkable is that the Quran also mentions a state of suspended animation.
Really?
In relation to certain events.
So it's like these ancient ideas are finding new life in modern science.
They are.
That's a pretty wild connection.
It is.
So I know we can't shy away from this next topic, the Day of Judgment.
Right.
And the Quran's descriptions of this event are very vivid.
They are.
Filled with imagery of upheaval in the natural order. And it's definitely something that sparks a lot of curiosity and honestly a little bit of anxiety.
It's understandable to feel that way because the Quran really doesn't sugarcoat it.
Right.
The descriptions of this event, no.
There's talk about mountains being pulverized.
Right.
The earth pouring forth its contents, the very fabric of reality being shaken.
Okay, so as intense as these descriptions are, could they actually be rooted?
Potentially, yes.
In real cosmological phenomena?
It could be.
How could these ancient descriptions
That's
align with what we know about the universe today?
Well, think about some of the extreme cosmic events to know about. The Big Crunch, for example, where the universe collapses back in on itself. Or the interactions of black holes. These regions of space-time where gravity is so strong that nothing, not even light, can escape.
It's incredible.
I mean, these events would be cataclysmic, reshaping the universe as we know it.
So you're saying that these descriptions, while symbolic, could also be reflecting
potentially
real cosmic events.
Potentially.
So it's like a cosmic reset button being hit. So the Quran isn't giving us a scientific play-by-play.
No.
But it's using this imagery.
It's using imagery that
through a modern lens. Seems to align with our understanding of these powerful cosmic forces.
And it's important to remember that the Quran links this Day of Judgment to a reckoning. For mankind's actions. Suggesting this connection between the fate of humanity and the fate of the universe.
That's a pretty heavy concept to consider.
It is. It is.
It really makes you think about the consequences of our actions. Not just on a personal level or societal level. But on a cosmic scale.
Right, exactly.
Okay, I think we need to take a moment just to let all of this sink in.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
We covered a lot.
And it is mind-blowing stuff.
It is mind-blowing stuff.
What's so fascinating to me is how the Quran, revealed centuries before these discoveries, offers such seemingly accurate descriptions of these phenomena. It begs the question,
what's that?
Where did this knowledge come from?
If Prophet Muhammad was just a man of his time, How could he have possibly known any of this?
Right. He didn't have telescopes. He didn't have particle accelerators.
Right.
So that's really the crux of the matter.
Yep.
And for those who believe in the divine origin of the Quran,
All right.
these scientific insights serve as proof of its authenticity.
Right.
It's evidence that this is not just a book of faith, but it's also a book of knowledge that transcends human understanding, reflecting this ultimate knowledge of the Creator.
So for those who accept the Quran as divine revelation, these scientific alignments add another layer of meaning to the text. But what about those who approach the Quran from a more secular perspective?
That's a valid point. And there are definitely diverse viewpoints on this. Some who don't subscribe to the belief in divine revelation
might interpret these parallels as coincidence. Or simply the use of poetic language that happens to align with later scientific discoveries. But even from that perspective, the Quran's alignment with scientific concepts is, at the very least, intriguing.
It is, for sure.
It sparks curiosity. It invites this further exploration and dialogue between faith and science.
It's a reminder that knowledge can come from unexpected places.
Absolutely.
Sometimes ancient wisdom can illuminate our modern understanding of the universe.
It's all about keeping an open mind. And being willing to explore different perspectives. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit. Talk about the composition of the universe, the building blocks of everything. So we talk about iron being sent down from the stars. But what about other elements? Does the Quran give us a cosmic chemistry lesson?
Well, you won't find a periodic table in the Quran.
All right.
But what you will find is an emphasis on the balance and order in creation. It stresses this idea that everything is created with a purpose, with this precise measure, highlighting this interconnectedness of all things.
So instead of listing specific elements, it's more about providing this framework.
Yes, it's a framework.
For understanding how everything fits together.
Like a cosmic blueprint.
Yeah, a cosmic blueprint. I like that. And that emphasis on balance really resonates with what we know about physics and chemistry. I mean, the universe operates according to laws.
It does.
Those laws govern everything.
Everything.
From the interactions of atoms to the formation of galaxies. It's like this grand...
It is like
cosmic symphony.
A cosmic symphony.
And each element playing its part.
In perfect harmony.
Yeah, in perfect harmony. I love that.
It is a beautiful analogy.
Okay, so we've talked about elements we can see. But what about the stuff we can't see? Like dark matter and dark energy. These mysterious concepts.
Yes, they are mysterious.
That science is still trying to wrap their heads around.
Grasp, understand.
Does the Quran mention anything about those?
Well, you won't find explicit mentions of dark matter or dark energy in the Quran, but there are some interesting passages that, when interpreted metaphorically, could be seen as hinting at these concepts.
Like what?
Well, for example, there's a verse that says, "And we have made the sky a protected ceiling, but they, from its signs, are turning away."
Okay, so protected ceiling. I can see how that might connect to the protective layers of the atmosphere we talked about earlier. But could it also be referring to something?
It could be.
Beyond that. Something unseen that holds the universe together.
That's one interpretation. And some scholars believe that this verse could be alluding to forces that were just beyond human comprehension at the time. Forces that we might now understand as dark matter. And dark energy.
So, again, using poetic language to describe things that wouldn't be scientifically explored for centuries.
Centuries later. It highlights the importance of approaching these texts with a sense of curiosity and openness to different interpretations. Because the Quran uses a lot of imagery and metaphors to convey these complex ideas. And it's up to each reader to interpret those metaphors based on their own understanding and the knowledge that's available to them.
So it's this constant dialogue between faith and science with each perspective.
Enriching the other.
Enriching the other, exactly.
And it's this ongoing dialogue
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it so exciting.
So even though the Quran was revealed centuries ago, it still has relevance today.
Absolutely.
Even in light of
our
modern scientific understanding.
It continues to inspire thought, reflection, and wonder.
For sure.
And as our scientific understanding evolves,
right,
we may uncover even more layers of meaning within its verses.
That's incredible.
It's really this never-ending journey of discovery.
Yeah, so we've talked about jinn.
Right.
But what about extraterrestrial life?
Okay.
In the more traditional sense.
Yeah.
You know, aliens, life on other planets.
Right.
Does the Quran address that possibility?
Well, while the Quran doesn't specifically mention aliens or life on other planets, it does refer to the existence of multiple worlds. So there's this verse that says, "And of his signs is the creation of the heavens and the earth, and what he has dispersed within them of creatures. And he has power to gather them when he wills."
So creatures, that could be
it could be anything.
Animals, plants, even microscopic organisms.
Exactly. But some scholars interpret creatures more expansively to include the possibility of intelligent beings on other planets. Wow. And they point to the phrase, what he has dispersed within them, as suggesting this wider distribution of life.
So, not a direct statement.
Not a direct statement.
It's an interpretation. Based on the broader context.
Based on the language and the context.
And this interpretation has really gained traction.
Yeah, it has.
In recent years. Especially as our search for extraterrestrial life.
It has intensified. Yeah.
Just imagine the philosophical and theological implications.
That would be huge.
If we discovered you have alien life,
it would be a game changer.
It would be a total game changer.
Sure.
I wonder how different religions and belief systems
a fascinating question
would adapt to such a monumental discovery.
It is. It really is.
It underscores how exploring these topics can push us beyond.
And pushes us beyond our comfort zones.
Our comfort zones.
Yeah.
And challenges our assumptions.
About the universe.
About the universe and our place in it.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's all about expanding our horizons.
Right.
And embracing this vastness and mystery of the cosmos.
Okay, so we've talked about jinn.
We've talked about
the possibility of extraterrestrial life.
Yeah. But I want to shift gears just a little bit.
Okay.
And talk about the concept of time.
Time.
Yes, time.
It's something we all experience.
We do.
Yet it remains one of the most elusive and enigmatic aspects of the universe.
It really is.
You know, we measure it, we schedule our lives around it, we're constantly trying to save it or make the most of it.
Yeah, we are.
But what does the Quran have to say?
Yeah, what does it say?
About this fundamental aspect of reality.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I always think about time as this constant pressure. It's always moving forward. You can't stop it. You can't rewind it.
Right.
So does the Quran address this relentless nature of time?
It does. The Quran emphasizes that time. Just like everything else in the universe is a creation of God.
Okay.
It's not something that exists independently.
Right.
And there's this verse that really beautifully captures that.
Okay.
And it is who created the night and the day and the sun and the moon. Each one is swimming in an orbit.
So the concept of time is actually linked to the movements of these celestial bodies. You know, the sun and the moon mark our days and nights.
Right, exactly.
Their orbits kind of dictate our years.
They dictate our years.
Like this cosmic clock.
It's like a cosmic clock.
That's constantly ticking.
Constantly ticking.
And the Quran also talks about time as this constantly flowing river moving relentlessly forward.
There's a verse that's a powerful reminder of this. It says, "By the time, verily, man is in loss."
So it's almost like a warning.
Yeah, it's a warning.
That time is precious.
It's precious.
Don't waste it.
Exactly.
It is a sobering thought.
It is.
We often get caught up in the busyness of life.
We do.
And we forget. That our time here is finite.
It's finite.
That verse really seems to urge us to make the most of the time that we have.
And to focus on what really matters.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what else is interesting?
Right.
The Quran also explores time in this more metaphysical sense. Yeah. So this idea that our linear perception of time
with the past, present, and future.
That might not be the whole picture.
That's really interesting.
So there are passages that suggest time may not be as straightforward as we think.
So give me an example.
Well, there's this verse that says, "And with him are the keys of the unseen. None knows them but he. And he knows what is in the land and the sea. Not a leaf falls, but he knows it. Nor a grain in the darkness of the earth, nor anything fresh or dry, but is inscribed in a clear record."
A clear record.
Yeah.
It sounds like this
It's like
cosmic database.
It's a cosmic database.
Recording everything.
Recording everything.
That has happened and is happening.
And will happen.
And will happen.
It's like this all-encompassing record of time.
Yeah.
And some scholars interpret this verse as suggesting that God exists outside of our linear understanding of time.
So God can perceive
the past, present, and future.
All at once.
All at once.
That's a difficult concept to grasp.
It is a difficult concept.
No, it really is.
But it really challenges us to consider that possibility.
And that time might be more fluid.
More fluid and interconnected.
Than we realize.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like we're trying to understand this multi-dimensional concept. Through this two-dimensional lens.
It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
Exactly.
You know, it's going to create these limitations in our understanding.
Okay, so we've gone through a lot.
We have.
We've talked about the creation of the universe.
Yes.
Its expansion. The possibility of space travel.
Right.
The Day of Judgment.
Yes.
The existence of jinn.
Right.
The possibility of extraterrestrial life. The composition of the universe.
Yeah.
These unseen forces like dark matter.
Yes.
And we even touched
upon
the nature of time itself.
The nature of time. Wow.
This has been an incredible deep dive.
It has been a truly mind-blowing journey.
And I think the key takeaway for me is that the Quran really encourages us to approach the universe with a sense of wonder.
Wonder and awe. Yes.
It's not about
memorizing dry facts and figures.
Right. It's not about that at all.
It's about cultivating this sense of appreciation and reverence.
Yeah, reverence for the cosmos.
Yeah.
And recognizing our place within it.
Exactly.
It's a cosmic reality check.
It is.
Reminding us
that we're not the center of everything.
Right. There's a small part of this vast and intricate universe.
And we should approach it with respect and responsibility.
For sure.
The Quran really emphasizes that the universe is a sign of God's power and mercy.
Okay.
And that we have this duty to care for it.
Right.
And to use our knowledge and understanding wisely.
So it's not just about understanding the universe. It's about living
in harmony with it.
Yeah.
Recognizing that we're interconnected.
Yes.
With all things.
So is there anything in the Quran that science has definitively proven wrong?
That's an excellent question.
Yeah.
And one that often comes up in these discussions about the Quran and science.
Okay.
And it's important to remember that the Quran is not a science textbook.
Right.
It's a book of guidance, spiritual insight.
Okay.
However, some critics have pointed to certain passages that they believe contradict modern scientific understanding.
Okay, like what?
Well, one of the most common examples is the interpretation of certain verses that describe the Earth as being flat.
Okay.
Now, of course, we know that the Earth is a sphere.
Right, of course.
So how do those who believe in the Quran's scientific accuracy reconcile that apparent contradiction?
Yeah, that's a good question.
They argue that those verses should be interpreted metaphorically, not literally.
Okay.
And they point to other verses in the Quran that clearly describe the Earth's roundness.
Okay.
Like this verse. He has created the heavens and the earth with truth. He wraps the night over the day and wraps the day over the night.
Okay.
So that word wraps implies the spherical shape.
Yeah. Okay.
This covering that envelops the earth.
It makes sense. Languages evolve.
And
how we describe certain concepts back then might not align perfectly with our understanding.
Exactly. It highlights the importance of context and interpretation when we're dealing with ancient texts.
For sure.
It's not about taking every word literally, but it's about understanding the underlying message and how that relates to our expanding knowledge of the world.
So again, it's this constant dialogue between faith and science.
Yes.
Each informing the other.
Each informing and enriching the other.
We're constantly learning and refining.
Refining our understanding. It's a beautiful process.
It is.
It's a reminder that there's always more to discover, more to learn, more to understand.
We've covered so much in this deep dive.
We have.
I mean, we've talked about every major...
I think we've hit all the major points.
Yeah.
It's been mind-bending.
Truly awe-inspiring.
Awe-inspiring, for sure.
So, as we wrap up this episode, what's the one big question that we should leave our listeners with? Something to ponder.
Right.
As they continue their own exploration of the universe and its mysteries.
Given the Qur'an's remarkable alignment with these scientific discoveries, what other insights might it hold that we haven't yet grasped? Perhaps it contains knowledge that's still waiting to be unlocked. Knowledge that could guide us as we face the challenges of the 21st century and beyond.
It's a powerful thought to end on.
It is.
That there's always more to learn.
Always more to learn.
More to discover.
More to discover.
And maybe those discoveries will come from the most
unexpected places.
Unexpected places.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the Quran.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep looking up.
Keep looking up.
And keep asking questions.
Keep asking questions.